So we're learning Likuti Torah, which is a book written by the first Rebbe of the Chabad movement, the first of 7 Rebbes, a chain of 7 Rebbes. And now we're learning about what exactly was the argument between Korach and Moses, and how Korach succeeded so amazingly until his tragic and total destruction in the end. Okay, so as we've said so many times before, the Torah is the real news in the world. The Torah is really telling us what the Creator wants right now, because the Torah is a book from the Creator. And we believe that the Creator is creating everything all the time, and everything is for a purpose. And the Torah tells us what that purpose is. But it's not like any sort of a purpose that you can sort of discern or extrapolate on your own from the world. Like, the purpose of the world is to get reward, that we're the center and we should get money or pleasure or go to heaven or do something, get something. No, the goal of the world is to act, speak, think, and even feel in this world the way God wants us to. And a lot of times that means to defy, to ignore, and even transform what we want. And what we want goes very, very deep. And it's very, very tricky sometimes to know exactly what it is that God wants, opposed to what we want. And it's very easy, that's the way God created the world, that a person could think that what I want is what God wants. Or even more, there's no such thing as God. There's only me. I'm God. What is God? God is the ultimate reality. Ultimate reality, that's God. Not just a power that's bigger than me or the ultimate power or whatever. The ultimate reality is God. And He creates all being. So, in fact, there is no other reality other than His, but He creates this world, so it's real. Why? Because He's creating it. And the problem is realizing this, first of all, and then implementing it. That sometimes it means that our desires and our natural urges that we were born with the first day we came into this world, they clash with what God wants. What happened? Oh, there we go. Good. Okay, so here we have such a clash. Now, this happens to us every day. It can, if we accept the fact that God is creating us and that God has given us a responsibility to do what He wants in the world. And what He wants in the world is not monumental things. You don't have to build big synagogues or statues or whatever you have. It could be just to be positive in the place where everybody is negative, to give charity to somebody who needs, to give a good word to someone. Right? Not to be negative, not to run after your desires and after your heart and after your lusts and after your eyes, and not to try to justify it, for sure. So here we have the classic case of this. Last week also, natural desires by holy people, natural desires, urges, plans, feelings against God's desires, plans, and feelings. And it goes very, very deep. Human personality is tremendously deep and, impelling. A person suddenly has fear, right? Very difficult to get rid of it. He has a lust, a desire, and sometimes he's right. Sometimes there's what to be afraid of. Sometimes the desire is a just desire, right? Could be one person wants to be a leader, he wants to be rich, could be right. How do we know? How do we know? First of all, how do we know God exists? Secondly, how do we know that what God wants is right? And how do we know we should stop doing what we want in order to do what God wants? How do we know if we're doing what God wants? So the answer to that is that there's the Torah, and that's not enough. There's rabbis. And then there's how the rabbis interpret the Torah. That's the whole point. How the rabbis interpret the Torah. That's the difference between good and bad. And that's the argument between Moses and Korach. Who's going to interpret the Torah? Korach said, I'm calling the shots. Moses, enough. We all believe in God.